Good morning, folks. It is August 17th, 2022. Hope our creator is keeping you well and safe wherever you are in the world. Please make sure to hit that like button and share this across other platforms so that we can let people know what's going on out in our solar system. If you happen to be new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell in case we have any critical future updates. Folks, this is actually kind of a very interesting event that we're going to be going through here in the next couple of days. As you can see here, we have a G3, a strong G3 for August 18th. On the 17th, we have a G1, and then we get slammed right into a G3 on the 18th, and then on the 19th, it goes down to a G2 on its way out. This is from the Space Weather Prediction Center.noaa.gov. At any point in my videos, you can always hit pause, and you can see right up here, and I show you exactly where I'm at, so you can come and take a look at these things for yourself. Coming over here to spaceweatherlive.com for taking a look at our solar flares. This is what we got going on here, okay? This has been since yesterday, right around, I don't know, maybe 6 a.m. roughly. We had this C-class flare with a fat butt, meaning coronal mass ejection flare, C-flare with a fat butt. Anytime you have a flare with a fat butt, it's going to have a coronal mass ejection with it. So, anyways, we've definitely had a lot of activity, as we can see, in all of this. These are all flares. Every single one of these are flares. Now, not all of them have coronal mass ejections. Okay, we have to understand there's a difference between flares and coronal mass ejections. This here, being fat like that, has a coronal mass ejection, but these quick, sharp ones up and down, there might be a little bit of coronal mass ejection with it, but not as much as this, if that makes sense. Okay, these are sporadic. Now, what is responsible for all of these flares? Well, let's go take a look. We are looking at the Solar Dynamic Observatory at 193 angstroms of light, and this right here is the surface of our sun, which gives us a yellow. So here are a bunch of our flares. We've got this nice large coronal hill here. Okay, it's pretty large, but this right here is what's giving us the majority of our problems. Is this guy here? He just continues to fire rapidly, boom, 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 and he's actually pushing a lot of this plasma right up here into this coronal hole. So as we get the solar wind speeds coming from the coronal hole, it's going to be charged up with a bunch of plasma. And as you can, I mean, look at this. It just continues to fire, like it's not chilling out really. But believe it or not, that could be a good thing. It would be better for us to have a bunch of smaller M flares than it would be to have a large X flare. Because see, when this sunspot group is continuing to firing, it's relieving pressure. Where if it actually just went quiet and just kind of like didn't release anything, it would actually be building in intensity and could win it. And so the next time that it did pop, it could pop a quite large X flare with a large coronal mass ejection coming right at us. And since we've got solar winds coming from this coronal hole that's pretty much kind of connected, this thing just keeps on pushing it closed, which is just, it baffles me. But yeah, then of course all of that coming at us as well. Now, folks, scientists, a lot of people, they're really kind of confused. This is a very hard one to forecast. Okay, it really is. It is a hard one to forecast for a multitude of reasons because of all of the firing going on. Okay, we'll come over here to Space Weather, well, actually over here at European Space Agency. Okay, and this is their Euphoria model. Okay, now if you watch, okay, this right here is their Euphoria model. Space Weather Prediction Center in NASA call it an Enlil model. Yes, I said Enlil, like the Anunnaki Sumerian gods Enlil, yes. So this right here is the sun, this right here is the earth. Now as we move forward, we can see one eruption there, and then you see a second eruption right behind it, and then a third eruption right here, and then a fourth eruption right here. So they're all kind of catching up. So this is where we get impact. So it keeps impacting, it keeps coming out. Okay, now this is looking at the north of the sun, from above the sun looking down, and this is looking at it from an angle. Okay, this is from an angle, if that makes sense. So they're showing the impact right on the 18th at about 3:16 a.m. UTC time, and we're looking at about 50 to 52 centimeters cubed. Now this is European Space Agency, okay, which is pretty significant. That's a decent amount of, I mean, we're looking right here. That's a decent amount. Well, what happens is all of them are catching up to each other, and they're just building and building and building and building and building and making a very large impact is what that does. Now, what I'll do is I'll come on over here to, yeah, let's come on over here. Do I want to come here? No, I think I should come here. Hold on a second. Okay, now we came back over here to spaceweatherpredictioncenter.noaa.gov, products, WSA, NLO solar wind prediction. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this really quick. Now, their European Space Agency showed a much different photo. Okay, here they're only predicting approximately. Now you can see here they're actually showing the different eruptions. Okay, you can see them here. Boom, they're popping off one after another after another. Okay, you can see them catching up to each other. Some people call it a cannibal CME, but I mean they don't really eat each other. They just combine into a big one. Okay, but it got coined as a phrase as a cannibal CME, and it's pretty much stuck around ever since. So we're actually showing here with a density of only approximately 30 centimeters cubed according to Space Weather Prediction Center's model, according to NOAA. Okay, but it shows us getting the impact beginning around 6 a.m. Okay, where over here it was showing a different time. Okay, here they're actually showing the impact really beginning on the 17th of 1400. So the models are going to disagree sometimes. Okay, but also there's peaks at about 2 a.m., but right around 1 a.m. between, oh, that's, yeah, 3 minutes and 16 seconds past midnight. So basically around midnight to 2 in the morning, which would be 1, is their peak, okay, according to the European Space Agency. But then when we come over here and we take a look at it here, on this model, it's showing it arriving right around 6 and peaking around around 7 o'clock, and then having a little dip and then popping back up around 1300. So according to this model, we will be in the event from 5 a.m. until about 1700. That's 12 hours. That's a pretty good chunk of the day, folks. Now over at Space Weather Prediction Center, we're also at the Geospace Magnetosphere movies. Okay, now this is one of the things that I'll be watching for. I'll be watching this throughout the next few days. This is our pressure. Okay, this is going to show us when we get an impact. Okay, this is our pressure cut planes. Okay, so when we get that impact, when that impact comes and smacks, this is our bow shock. Okay, this is the bow. This is the daytime, and this is the nighttime of the Earth. So when that thing impacts, you're going to see this bow shock go whoosh. You're going to see it just arch way back here. The front of this line here, looking at -10, yeah, that baby's going to be back here at like 30, 40. Okay, and it'll just be all glowing, just solid red, both in front and behind the planet. So I will definitely be keeping an eye on that. This right here shows our density, showing how dense it is, and then this one up here at the top is our velocity, showing wind speeds. Now, one of the other things we need to keep in mind, folks, okay, I'm over here at earthquakesvolcanosdiscovery.com, is within 3 to 4 days after the impact. Okay, from the time of the impact, once we finally get hit, within 3 to 4 days of it being gone, we're going to start seeing an uptick in earthquakes and volcanic activity. Okay, and we've already been having a lot. These are all these are the ones that are currently active, and all these earthquakes that we're seeing are all within the last 24 hours. I mean, look at this swarm we've got over here by New Zealand. I mean, there's a whole crap ton of them over here. We're going to see an uptick in the amount of them, and it's going to be pretty intense, I have a feeling. Now I'm going to bring you over here to ISWA, where we are looking at this is stereo head corner graph 2, and I've gone ahead and pulled this up, pulled the data up. Now, yesterday's forecast, I did show you guys this. Okay, this was from an eruption that we had, and I said, oh, it looks like there's something right here. Something nice and round on the leading edge of this coronal mass ejection. Now watch what happens with the next frame. Boop. Oh, it's still there. So the coronal mass ejection is going around whatever this object is. And then we go there and we can clearly see that there is something there. It's just hard to say what it is. It's something large and round. That's all I know. I mean, you can kind of see, I mean, you can see it's kind of round here, and then boop, it's still there and it's round. At least to my eyes it is. And then it looks like it's still around here. Now, I want you guys to check this out. Look at this. It all of a sudden removes 2 hours of data. Goes from 4:53 to 6:23. Well, why is that? Look at how it was only like, what, 30 minutes between shots before? I mean, why are we missing so much data? Well, because NASA has the rights to remove them. Even though they don't own these satellites, they don't own the rights to them. They just have the right to remove whatever images that they choose, however much time they want. And then look at this. We go from 4:53 to 6:23. So you really can't see what happened to it. And then it's like, wait a minute, and then you're missing an hour there. And then look at this. It goes from 7:38 yesterday morning to 17:53. Look at all that time missing. Like, what? What? That's 10 hours. And then, of course, there was another something large round object here that we could have seen coming out, but because they deleted the data, we don't get to see what that is. And then look at that, from 17:53 yesterday to 3:53 this morning. What the crap is going on here? They just keep deleting data. So we're going to come down here and we're looking at Lasco C2 and Lasco C3. This is obviously a magnified. It's a lot closer to the sun than this one as far as power goes. And oh, look at this. We got some kind of a bird-like object with a head, wings, and a tail, and some little trail of la 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 coming out from behind it. So what is this, folks? You know what that is. Come on, some of my normal subs, you know what this is. And once again over here, we've got another one right here. Right, let me zoom in on this bad boy for you. We've got some craft here and some form of a propulsion trail out behind him. And actually, let me come on over here for you so you can take a look at this guy too. Look at that. There he is. Now we're going to zoom back out. There's something else going on over here on Lasco C3. Check this out. Whoa, what? What is all of that? What happened there? Can anybody tell me? Are those I mean, what is that? That I don't know what that is, but it took Lasco C3 a good minute to recover. It was having some issues there. I mean, look at this. Like, what? Well, those are Borg cubes bending light data because they didn't want us to see what was going on. Believe it or not, we have Borg cubes, folks. I've shown them on some of my other videos. By all means, go take a look, especially on my main channel, Jacob of Ephraim. You can go and check out my playlist. I do show Borg cubes, and there are several crafts all over the place out in space. Right here, this is obviously a propulsion. It's actually known as a nuclear pulse star engine. We actually have that technology. You can look it up. Nuclear pulse engine. It's an ionic engine. Nuclear pulse ionic engine. We have the technology, and it actually has a pulse. When it accelerates, it goes boom, 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 like a pulse. Well, here you go. Boom, 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 right there. I mean, that's the engine. We have this technology. That one was one of ours. Look up the TR3B. We have the TR3B, and guess what? I mean, a lot of the stuff that you're hearing on Star Trek and Star Wars, yeah, a lot of that stuff, where do you think they got it from, folks? They're informed of it. Nope, there's another propulsion trail. There's all kinds of, whoa. Here was one just zinged right in front of him, but he was there so short we didn't get a chance to really see what was going on. Here's another little craft right here on Lasco C2. Right there for you. Here we are on Lasco C2. August 15th at 5:12 a.m. 2022. Here's a Borg cube right here. I've gone over this on my main channel, Jacob of Ephraim. Actually, they actually have them on at the Hoover Dam. You have two archangels on their statues, and they're sitting on black Borg cubes. In fact, the movie Transformers, what did they talk about? The Allspark. Where was the Allspark? At the Hoover Dam. What does it look like? It looks like a freaking Borg cube. So the movie Transformers is literally telling you about these, and I call it Borg cube because that's how I relate it. It may not necessarily be Borg, but it makes sense to me. I mean, am I going to call everything an Allspark? No. But are there any religions that go around in a counterclockwise rotation around a black Borg cube? Yeah, it's called Mecca. Islam. Think about it. Eyes open, no fear, and remember that love is the only way forward. So, out.